Welcome back, everybody, to Forgotten Working Class. I'm your host, John. Today we have Jared with us. How you doing today, Jared?
Oh, not too bad yourself.
I'm not doing bad. Doing pretty good. I did see something that the first thing I'm going to talk to you about, I have to ask you because it just happened to me and I see it just happened to you. You got banned from TikTok Live.
Yeah.
Bro, how did you get banned from TikTok Live? Your live is like just you moving trees.
Oh,
How?
apparently, like all these bans that I get, this isn't the first one. I've gotten warnings before, and I've appealed them successfully. But every time they just say, "Oh, dangerous stunts and activities." I'm like, "What's the fucking stunt I'm doing?"
You're in a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I just got banned, I would say 2 days before I see that you got banned. And I was laughing because I went on to look at one of your lives and I was like, oh, he got banned too. And
Yeah.
then I couldn't think of anything you'd get banned for because I was like, his lives are like him working. There's
Yeah.
nothing bad.
Yeah. It's the way they put in their little community guidelines blurb that's giving you recommendations of how to avoid it. It's all about driving down the fucking highway. Like
Yeah.
I'm 2 hours from pavement.
I think you're driving the machine while hauling them logs beside you, right? Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, like oh my god. So,
Yeah,
so I
I
just
got
wonder,
banned.
like, do they use AI to like try to make an assumption of what you're
That's
doing,
what
or
I think it is, man.
yeah, it was
I
either
got
that.
banned for showing pictures from when I was in the hospital, which they are graphic,
Yeah,
but it's real life. Like
yeah,
this happened to me. It's not I'm not shooting guns in here, killing something. I was showing like legit pictures of what happened, which they are graphic. Don't get me wrong. And I was doing it on live, and they shut me down for graphic content, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But it's happened to me multiple times. They've gotten all my scars, like graphic content. I'm like, those I can't get rid of them. They're there. It's, it's,
it just makes you think, like, what do they want from
yeah,
people to make their content, right?
I don't know,
Like
but you can get on there and shake your ass,
oh yeah, if you
right?
got on there, like they promote you, they put you right on the top of the for you page
Yeah.
for everyone.
All those guys out here trying to make a living. Nope.
No,
So, Jared,
yeah.
tell me what you do for a living.
So I do a variety of things in the logging industry. So I run feller buncher, log loader, processor. I can run the skidder, run a little bit excavator, a little bit of dozer. Do kind of a jack of all trades kind of thing.
So the first thing you mentioned, what was it called?
Feller buncher.
That I don't know. I know Skidder. I know all that other stuff.
So
What's that do?
a feller buncher's the one that goes into the block first and physically cuts the trees down with probably a 5 foot circular saw on the bottom and two sets
I
of
know what
graphics.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are dope.
yeah.
Those are cool. I
Those
like
are
watching those things get run. They are definitely. And then I mean, like you to watch you run that machine is it's fun. It's fun to
yeah.
watch because you grabbing them logs, whipping them through, cutting them up, throwing them to the side. I was like, yeah, he's good at operating. He's good at what he
I'm
does.
pretty rusty. Like this
Really?
processing, I just got back to it. I've been away from it for about 3 years now. I was loading and bunching, do a little bit of bridge building here and there, but typically the last 3 years I've been loading. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen any of the videos on my profile of the loader with the dog running around the grapple.
No, I
That's
didn't see the dog one.
yeah. I was running loader last year for the most part, and a little bit of buncher, and kind of getting a little bit rusty on the processor now. I have to get used to the dangle head again. I've only that's March. I've been back on it for 3 months now, so I'm starting to get back into my old swing of things, but not quite.
Yeah, but I mean, still, even being rusty, you're still pretty good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, pretty impressive. So, how'd you get into that? How'd you get into the logging business?
Well, originally, like my grandfather, he's been in the logging industry hauling logs since Christ was in Pampers. Like my stepfather, he's grapple skidder operator. He's not anymore. He got out of the industry, but I was going to university, and this was 2014. So I to make tuition money. I mean, didn't want to take out a pile of student loans, so I found a job up in Northern Ontario. I got that, worked there for the summer, went back to school, and then the next summer I went back to the woods. But instead of going to Northern Ontario, I went over to Alberta and made some money there, come back for the third year, and then going into the fourth year, I just elected to stay out there because, I mean, for my first year, I took engineering for civil engineering, and then I transferred over to physics, and my thought process was, do I want to spend the next potentially 4 years in school to finish my bachelor's, then go on to my master's? And in order for me to make a good living doing that, I would have to go to the States and work in a lab down there. Not really an office person. Like, I couldn't imagine staying in a lab or an office all day. Like, it's just not my thing.
No, it's too boring.
Yeah.
You got to be moving. You got to be doing something.
Exactly. And then, with this industry, you work at the same site for probably anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months, and then you're on to a new site. So it's brand new scenery every time. Like, we just come from a block with amazing views. Amazing. And now we're into another.
Your job, the amount of views that you get, I mean, you have like the best morning job. Go out on the beautiful views, sunrise, sunset. I mean, yeah, you couldn't ask for a better office right there. That's it.
And the only other lights out there are other guys working, or the last site we were at, we could see a gold mine that's probably 50 kilometers, roughly. I'd say it's 35 miles away, something like that.
That's pretty cool.
You can see the lights from that because it's a big mine, but other than that, nothing. And some of the Northern Light shows you get up here, like,
oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Oh, damn, dude, you get the. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. In the mining industry, I see dirt and water. That was it. Dirt and water.
Yeah.
And then my wife would want to go to the beach, and I'm like, I see dirt and water all day, every day. I don't want. Hate the beach. It's the same thing. It's sand and water. Yeah, I didn't get any of the beautiful view. And now occasionally we would have nice sunsets and sunrises that you'd see in the morning. You're like, oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. Then it's dirt and water. That's it. Occasionally some good dust. That's about it.
We get a pile. We like when it gets dried out in the summer up here because we go on fire hours, which
oh yeah,
it goes based on the fire danger rating. So if we have three consecutive, it goes on a scale of 1 to 5. So once you get three consecutive 4s, you're on night shift, which is from sundown till 1 o'clock the next day. And then if you get 3 5s in a row, you're completely shut down. But like when we're in that kind of season, the amount of dust coming off those tractor trailers going through, clean. Oh, you're cleaning your air filters and windows like daily. Not
really?
Oh yeah. Jeez. We get that filthy stuff up here, and it's just no.
That's rough. So, how far do you go into the woods? I know you said you're far away from pavement.
Yeah, we're pretty far right now. We're about 2 hours and change from town. But there's typically it's about an hour drive to work typically every day.
Not horrible, but still.
No, 2.5 is kind of shit.
Yeah, 2.5 hour drive to work. It fucking sucks.
Yeah. Drive 2.5 hours, sit in the machine for 12, do a half-hour service, drive another 2.5 hours.
Fucking back hates you all day, every day.
Oh, it does. Oh.
That's wild. Nah, that sucks. 2 hour drive. I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, hour drive is not terrible, but still, an hour.
The other option for us is to stay in camp, and I mean, it's not my thing anymore. My stepfather used to tell me camps for young lads and divorcees because like you can't have a family when you go to
Yeah,
camp.
no.
Gone for 10 days at a time. No, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's an hour home, drive that hour home, and it's not that bad when you have to choose to either stay there and camp, then do that. Now, is your camp set up? Do you guys have like trailers and stuff, like big work trailers?
Well, it's big ATCOs, right? Like they're full living quarters. Like you get a bedroom, and then some. It depends on the configuration, right? Because some of them they're just drop-in camps. They don't got wheels or nothing. They bring them on high beds, so
Oh
they'll put
wow.
them in place, shun them into where they need to go. And typically, one shack is set up with a bedroom on either side and a Jack and Jill bathroom in the middle. But the older style, they could have up to 4 rooms, and then you have a bathroom trailer somewhere sandwiched in the camp. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle, is what it is. And then you have the cookhouse, which is attached to, and yeah, it's that kind of
So,
stuff.
how many people do you have on the job site?
Oh, for us, like the camps that we'd be staying in would be like multi-company camps. So like,
Oh, okay, so you guys use the same. Oh,
yeah, there'd be a central camp for numerous different logging crews. Like there's a camp up one of the roads there. It's available for 150 guys. They're kind of slimmed down over the years. There's one up in Mesolinka I think that's a 250 man camp, and there's a couple 60s here and there, and
that's crazy.
yeah,
I didn't know they did that. That's completely new to me, which I'm not in the logging industry, but that's super cool that they provide a camp for different companies all around that can all meet up at that one camp. Now, does that cause confliction? Like, do people get upset and confrontation happens there because it's different jobs, different companies?
see that's where the dramatic effect comes into it because guys will leave one company on bad terms, and guess who they're living with for the next 10 days at a time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. You switch companies, well, and then you go to that camp. Well, that company's there. That is
Yeah,
an awkward situation.
it is.
Oh boy,
Yeah,
that would be fun.
but yeah, that's why I'm glad. Like, we got a house up here in Mackenzie, and everyone one of the companies is like, "Oh, you should come up and work for us in camp." I said, "I didn't buy a house in
Yeah,
Mackenzie, live in a fucking camp in Mackenzie." Sorry.
yeah. I bought this house. I just bought it to look at it. I'll be there. I'll come to
Yeah,
camp. Don't worry.
it's a weekend home.
Yeah, it's my vacation spot when I'm not working.
Yeah. But there's some spots up here, like we're up in Mackenzie, British Columbia, right? So there's a big dam reservoir up towards Chatwin up in Hudson Hope, and the lake in town is the reservoir. So in order to get up to the top of the lake, you got to drive down to the bottom and then go about 4 hours up the dirt road and then take another 2 hours. And then you can go another 2 hours past that. So to get all the way to the opposite side of where the road ends, you got to drive about 8 hours. So it kind of makes sense for them to have a camp up there. But like
Yeah.
close to town, it's mostly the out of town guys that end up staying in the camps, right? But because there's,
You said British Columbia.
yeah,
Have you ever worked with anybody or any of those companies like that were on the show Axemen? Because they did a
no,
lot of working in British Columbia, didn't they?
yeah, they did, but I didn't work for any of those. I was actually on a different TV show last spring. It was called Timber Titans through Discovery.
Really?
I was on that. Yeah, I got a D8 dozer stuck.
I'm totally looking this up now. I'll find your ass on there.
You got to.
I'm
It's
good. What was
uh,
it called? Timber what?
Timber Titans.
Timber Titans.
Yeah, there was there's 4 different companies that were on. I don't think they're doing a season 2, but it was the first season they were doing it. There used to be an old TV show that they had was Mud Mountain Haulers, and it's kind of a continuation of that.
Huh. How
Yeah.
was that?
It was different, like you know, you got
I was
all
gonna
these.
say,
Yeah.
yeah, the camera crew and everything.
Yeah.
How was that? Wasn't that awkward?
It kind of is, yeah, but like being out there and you meet the camera crew before it even starts, right? Like you guys have a little bullshit at the beginning in the morning, and they tell you, well, we're just here to watch and observe, and like we're gonna stay out of your way, which they do. They do a really good job at that. And the only difference is they hook a bunch of GoPros up to your machine before they want to film something, and they give you this little microphone pack. And that day I had an upset stomach, so I was running into the woods and I just look at the guy, I'm like, kill my fucking audio.
Running. You know that guy was like, "Fuck that! Leave the audio on. This is gonna make great content."
Oh no, God, there's a sound of me just unleashing hell in the bush.
That's hilarious.
But like I said, like the most awkward part about it was going down to Prince George because they wanted to do like sit down interviews, right? So that's kind of like, it's not like you or I sitting here right now where I can actually see you and talk to you. It's more along the lines of they have the camera set up and then he's sitting over here, but the way it's like a little periscope thing that kind of bounces off mirrors. So it looks like his face is right beside the camera where I can see he's sitting over on the other side. It really threw me off.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's a hard. Yeah, that's a little awkward.
Yeah.
Trying to put that together and sit in front of that, and you're like, the guy's really not there. He's
No,
like,
it's
I'll
like,
make believe.
I can see his face and eyes here, but his body and everything's over here. It's just, it threw me off.
It's a big mind fuck right there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's just
So how long did you do that?
We filmed that for a couple months where they like, because they would bounce around between 4 different logging crews. So they might be here for a week and then come back in a month, and then they'd be gone and have enough footage to put the season together. And then they ended up having to come back out and do a couple more reshoots because the storyline wasn't panning out. But they made a pretty good season. They did pretty good. It gives you a pretty good look into the different phases of logging up here. Like there's helicopter logging, there's forwarder harvester operations, there's operations like I do right now, which is a buncher, a skidder, and a processor. There's lots of different ways to do it.
I'm totally gonna check that out. I'm gonna find you on there.
I'm gonna find you. Huh? I had a lot more hair. I just got my hair cut the other day.
Did you? So I'm gonna look for long haired Jarrod in that one.
Yeah.
You're not fighting anybody in there, are you?
No.
You know, like the Axemen, those guys would always like, they're ready to swing hands like any second.
Yeah.
Dude, they're always fighting everywhere, every time you look at them. But then that's all I could think. If I own a company, you bring a camera crew in, now you guys have that like, I gotta show out for the camera.
Yeah.
You know, shit getting done or not?
Yeah. At the same time, the how do I put it without saying something? It does add a lot more to the job site. You have to be a lot more careful with the way that you do things. Like there's certain things that you do that are kind of very, very gray and that you don't want on camera.
As I say, yeah, you got camera crews, you know, steady watching every movement you do.
Like when you're bunching up 45% and higher, you're supposed to have like all these plannings and stuff. And if you're up over 50, I think you need a winch assist, and we were doing 55 plus without anything, just a tilter buncher, just going up there, cutting her down. And we didn't want them filming that part, but yeah.
Yeah, that has to be hard, because you think about it, every day you're at work, you're in that routine, you know what you're going to do, you know how to do your stuff the way you want to do it. Well, then all of a sudden you have cameras on you and you completely forget about it.
Oh yeah, like it's the pressure. Someone like, it's like when you're doing anything and you can do it, and then you have a set of eyes on you. You just find doing these little fuck ups here and there. You hit a rock with the buncher and it's like, oh, come on.
How'd you get the D8 stuck?
Well, okay. Do you want the way they portray it or the way that it happened?
Let's hear both.
Yeah. The way they portrayed it was we needed to move a bridge. We needed to get the bridge pulled in because the truck couldn't bring the bridge to the bridge site. So I was building road waiting for the truck to show up. And then I got the cat stuck and then I blew a hose and then we bubble gummed the hose back together and then I pulled the bridge in. That's the storyline that they have. The real storyline is I pulled that fucking bridge in at 6:30 in the morning. I blew a hose blading off. Well, I didn't blow the hose. I had the cat back blading off road. A stump rolled out from underneath the blade and knocked off one of my blade tilt hoses.
Okay.
So I can still walk it without it pissing a bunch of oil out, right? But I'm just walking in the blades like that. And I'm walking through, and I have the choice to either go through the black muskeg hole or go on the high side where there's a bunch of limbs and stuff that can keep me afloat. I went the high side because I didn't want to get the blade stuck in fucking black shit, right?
Yeah.
So I went over all this brush and I didn't see it, but there was a 30-inch stump there, like 30-inch around stump, and I high centered myself on it. So when I first popped the hose off, I got a hold of the foreman and I said, "Yeah, I blew a hose. I'm coming out." And he's like, "Okay." And then I made the mistake of when I got stuck. I come over the radio. I said, "Now I'm fucking stuck," and I could see the bridge site from where I got stuck, and collectively, all of the camera crew's heads just went. Within 30 seconds, I had a fucking drone in my face filming me. God damn it.
He's stuck. Get him.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can't put your blade down to help you tilt you out or anything like that since the hydraulics busted off of it. That sucked.
But
how'd you get it out? Skidder?
Well, we went and got the hose fixed first. The mechanic was there already, which is unbelievable that he was actually there.
Camera crews, that's why.
Yeah.
He's not gonna not be there for that one.
They did save me an hour and a half drive each way to go get a hose made, so I'll give him credit for that. But we got that hose built, and it wasn't really built. It was just a collective of because that hose went from the blade tilt down to the junction, and it was JIC on the junction side, but ORS on the cylinder side. And the only one he had a JIC one, and then he had an adapter, and then he had an ORS to ORS. So we had to make this monstrosity of a hose in order to get it to work so I could get pressure to the tilt. Then we got the skidder come down, tried to push me off the stump, but 635 skidder is not going to push a D8 off a stump. It's just not going to happen. So what ended up happening was they brought the loader down, and I put the ripper down and my blade down, kind of lifted myself off the ground, and they stuffed a bunch of branches and stuff underneath me, and then they pushed with the skidder and pulled with the button top to get me out of there. But yeah, it was I was stuck for a good 3 hours.
Yeah. I got about halfway stuck. I was able to work myself out, and that was, thank God it had rippers on it. I got D10 halfway stuck.
That's a heavy.
Yep, and that's what it was. I was walking around the back of a pile and walking it, and I hit a soft spot, and the whole left side of the ass went down. And when it went down, I was like, "Oh, you already know it was going down." And I was able to throw the rippers down and kind of pick it up. And then I would set it back down so it wouldn't sink anymore. Edge out, pick it up, set it down. It took me a while, but I got it out, and I was like, "Thank God I didn't get that thing stuck." Because to get that out, that's one of the biggest pieces of equipment you got on the property.
That's a new nickname.
Get that stuck, you're screwed. You're bumming really bad.
Yeah. I've seen some doozies over the last couple of years of buddies sending me pictures, people I met through my stream and stuff, sending me pictures of stuff that got stuck. There was one guy he's from down in the States. He sent me pictures of this buncher that got stuck. They actually wrote it off right away because the water level was up above the cab, kind of going up the window. The whole canopy was buried, so the engine was flooded. The insurance company just wrote it off, but they wanted the piece of equipment out of there because, environmental reasons.
Oh yeah.
So they end up cutting the boom off and pulling it out in two pieces. There's no way they could have got it out.
Yeah, I mean, you get a piece of machine like that up to the cab.
Yeah.
You're either gonna dig it out, let it dry, dig it out, let it dry, or you're just gonna leave it, cut it up. Yeah, you
cut
can't
it up
pull
or
that out. Yeah. Cut up, bury it back down in that hole and patch it up. Good to go. No one ever knows there's a track under you.
Just throw some grass seed over it.
Not even right. Yeah, it's under here. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's all good. So this is the career that you're gonna stick with for a long time?
I say no, but I know I'm gonna be sitting in it for till I'm at least in my 50s, and then
As I say, it's one of them things that you get into, especially having you have family that has been in it, and then you got into it. It's one of the things that you're in it.
Yeah, and I
In
mean
it to win it.
I mean, could I see myself doing really anything else? Not really. Like, I'd go work at the mine, like running front shovel or something, but I couldn't see myself taking a job in town and, not working with equipment. Like, I thought about it. I'm like, well, maybe I can go do this, or maybe I can go back to school. And then just the thought of going back to school and writing all those tests, like, nah, I'm good. No. I don't need to spend another 30 grand on education that I'm not going to use.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But that means that you like your job. You have passion for it. If you look at a job and say, all right, there's nothing really that I could see myself doing because you love to do what you do.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing it for the last 11 years. So, I mean, it's kind of the way it's written itself in, right? I'm in the industry. If for some reason spring breakup comes early for one company, well, I've worked for a few that I'll go back and work for them if they're still working, kind of thing. It keeps me busy, so I can't really complain.
So you jump around to different companies.
Since I moved up to Mackenzie, I kind of try to stick in the same spot, but I mean, you got to go where you're getting paid, right? Like if we're shut down for one company, well, I'll have to go work for someone else because my bills need to get paid too. It's the nature of the business, unfortunately, for forestry. If a company's not working, well, if you're not working for long, like if you're off for too long, you'll lose your whole crew. Your whole crew will leave. So
if you jump around, say you went from, you're having downtime at this company and you're like, all right, well, I'm going to go pick up some work over here.
Yeah.
And that company starts back up and you go back to that company. There's no like hard feelings. No. That's a good thing. That's awesome.
It's the nature of the business. Like, especially up here, there's about 3,000 people in this town. And I would say probably 1,500 of them are come or go. So there's good housing up here and it's affordable. It's just a lot of the town's population is living in the apartment buildings or in the hotels because it's between the mine and forestry. Like that's the two big businesses here is mining and forestry. So
you also have all the oil rigs up there too, right?
Not in our area. Like there's a charge battery plant down the road, like where all the pipelines come in and they just pressure it and send it on its way. But pipelines more up, like oil fields more up in over in Alberta or up in Fort St. John area. A little bit in Chapman, a little bit in Dawson, but that's the majority of them.
I gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
So have you ever come down to the States?
Oh yeah, I've been down, not for work, but like, going down, I used to live in Windsor, Ontario, which is right across from Detroit. So I'd be skipping over there to go to Red Wings games or Tiger games or whatever was going on at DTE for concerts. I go over there quite a bit. I've been down to Florida a few times.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. over to Maine and New Hampshire. We used to do all our Christmas shopping over there when I lived. I'm from New Brunswick originally, so.
I'm from New Hampshire.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born and raised in New Hampshire, and then I moved down to Florida in 2004.
Okay.
I've stayed here since. I would never go back to the snow. After living in where it's sunny every day, even when it rains, the sun comes out. I can fish every day, all year.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. You guys can keep the snow. It's nice to visit. I like to visit. It is, it's nice to go and visit, but to live in it again, I don't think I could do it, especially working in it. I've had to work in it, and to bust your knuckles when it's fucking cold, man, that's 0 to 100. Yeah.
Right there.
I don't think anybody understands if they've never worked in the cold environment that when you hit your hands, it hurts so much worse.
And then your skin's just so brittle at that temperature,
Yeah.
like minus 40 up here, like, well, minus 40 Celsius. I don't know what that conversion would be in Fahrenheit, but it's up there.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's very far off. I
No.
think you're still in the minus 30, 40, pretty close to it.
Yeah.
It's still super cold. That's no, fuck that, man.
Luckily, like over here in Mackenzie, we didn't hit 40 this year, but like up just north of us, they were like 45 because the only thing that separates us from Alberta is the Rockies, right? So the prairie areas always get super cold. They were seeing like minus 57 with the wind, and yeah, fuck that.
That's insane. I had a guest on the podcast. Shout out to Stephanie. She's in the oil field, but she's in now. Stephanie, if you're watching this, don't kill me because I don't remember if it was North or South Dakota. I want to say it was North Dakota, but found her on TikTok, and how I found her was she had a video where she has her hard hat on and then skiing goggles. And I've never seen anybody put skiing goggles on with a hard hat. So I was like, that's badass. Like, I need to know why.
Yeah.
So I had her on the podcast, and we ended up getting into that discussion. She was incredible. And she was like, yeah, I wear them because once you step outside, it's so cold right now that your eyes will start to freeze over. And I was like, what? So we went on, we did the podcast. And then after we were done recording, she was like, oh, I want to show you something. So she got out and she forgot her goggles, and she was like, look, and her eyes were already watering and you could see them start to like crystallize. And I was like, that's insane. She was like, yeah, like 30, 40 seconds. And this is what's happening. She goes, that's why I wear the goggles. And I was like, why would you want to work in that? No, bro, if I have to put goggles on so my eyes don't freeze, I don't want to work in that weather.
I like to work where the wind hurts.
But hey, somebody has to do it, so power to you guys. I mean, you guys are totally a different breed. Definitely, you guys are a lot stronger than most because there ain't no way I'd be out there in that kind of weather.
Well, I'm a little bit spoiled. I have climate control in my machine.
Yeah.
The amount of people that
God, right?
Do you have heat in that thing, or do you have air conditioning in that? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, nice in here, sitting in there with your shoes off, socks are on, and just chilling. Yeah.
Someone finally caught on in my life. So like, are you not wearing boots? I'm like, no.
Yeah, you're in a cab. Why do I need boots on right now?
In my machine, you can eat off my floor. I'm so particular about cleaning my floor.
I've done that 1,000 times. Kick the boots off. I don't need boots on right now.
Yeah.
Wow. You're chilling. You're operating for hours.
Oh. Just have your feet sweating all day and your boots get smelly. Oh,
yeah, no
thanks.
What kind of you being an operator?
Yeah.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to the whitest of white girl music, like Katy Perry. Yes, please.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like it depends on my mood, right? Like I got my work playlist, and then I got another playlist just titled "White Bitch Tunes," and it's like Katy Perry, T Swift, Lady Gaga, like Fall Out Boy, just a ton of stuff. Like
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, being an operator, I did it. And you can't just listen to one genre of music. It's done. You're over in like a week. You're like, all right, I listened to every fucking rock song
Yeah.
there was created in this week. And I don't think a lot of people understand that because you operating for 12 hours a day, you're either listening to a podcast or you listen to the radio.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to switch it up because that's how I learned to listen to. I listened from rock, country, rap, everything. Podcasts, talk shows in the morning. I've heard it all.
Like my work playlist is just if it sounds good, it goes on the work playlist. Like if it's something I could listen to a couple times and it goes
Yeah.
on the rotation of like 400 other songs, more power to it.
Yep. Yeah, I was listening to talk shows in the morning. Bubba the Love Sponge. That's who it was.
Oh.
I would listen to him every morning. And then I was so fucking pissed because he was hilarious to listen to.
Hmm.
And then I went to turn him on one day and the radio station didn't have him anymore. And I was like, no. And then that's when that Twitch came out.
Mhm.
It was right about that time. And then he went on to Twitch. So then that was even worse because now I'm not just listening. You could watch him. So as I'm running the machines, I'm like looking down trying to watch too. And I'm like, oh, what's happening right now? I'm like,
Isn't
oh, get
Bubba
back to
Love Sponge, isn't that the one where like Brett Hadley was like throwing shit in a fan and stuff?
Yeah, I think you're right on that, bro. That's been a long time since I listened to it, but I think you're right. There was shit in a fan or something like that.
Yeah, because I think he went to the Stern show after he was done with Bubba there, and they were talking like just this. Some of the crazy shit they got away with on the radio is just unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. Well, I found him one day. I forget how I found him. And I started listening to him, and I was like, oh, he's fucking funny, bro. He has no filter.
Yeah.
And then I started really listening to like a lot of his shows, and I was like, how is this allowed? Like, what is happening? I was like, this is amazing. I love it. But how the fuck is he getting away with this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was a fan right there. I was like, all right, he doesn't give a shit. I'm going to listen to him.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I was burnt out from that and had to switch back to music. And
Yeah. I get the same way too. Like I'll be listening to podcasts sometimes, then I just get burnout on listening to podcasts. Like I think every operator's got some sort of Rogan in their podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like then the other one, what's his name? Sean Ryan.
Forgotten Working Class. That's the podcast you need to be
Oh yeah,
listening
absolutely. That one's going on my. That's got to go on my Spotify.
But yeah, I mean, you can't. I think that the people that sit in a cab, and I've met people like this, that sit in a cab and don't listen to music, you guys are psychos.
Yeah, they are.
You're hands down a serial killer deep down inside. You're a psycho.
Yeah.
You can sit for like 10 hours a day and not listen to anything and sit there in silence.
Just listen.
You got a lot of shit going on in your head.
Yeah, just listen to the drone of the diesel go, and it's like, what is wrong with you?
You have some problems, bro. I've met some guys like that. They're like, I don't listen to music. You're like, how? Like, how deep do your conversations go with yourself then?
Yeah, like I can get it. Like if you're having like a shitty go of things, you need some quiet days. But like,
I understand that, yes. But to do it every day, you're a serial killer. You're fucking psycho.
And people that like there's a loaderman that I worked with before, and he listened to jazz music all fucking day for 35 fucking years. And I'm like,
oh my god,
what's wrong with you? Like,
yeah, no, I couldn't do that. To sit there and listen to that every day, all day. Yeah, you're a psycho.
I can't listen to a saxophone for more than fucking 2 seconds, and I want to play my.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do classical like that. I could do some oldies, like I liked like 50s music.
Yeah.
I got into the 50s music. And then that's kind of as far back as I would go. And then classical and stuff like that. I couldn't do that.
No,
you have to have something sort of upbeat that's not going to put you to sleep. You're trying to stay awake.
Yeah. Like that's where my white girl music comes in.
Yeah. Katy
just hear-
Perry, you're like, oh, I'm up. Let's do
Yeah,
this.
I just hear, do you feel like a plastic bag? I'm like, drifting through the wind. Just going ham.
Please tell me though, when you're on, do you hit it on the walkie-talkie to let everyone know?
Oh, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
before, with the way my setup, like, because the machine I run's got 18,000 hours on it, so it's a little tired. So if I plug in my two-way, my phone charger with my FM transmitter and my Starlink, it doesn't work. It cuts out every 2 seconds. It's a wiring issue. Like the machine still runs. It's just too much juice to the 12 volts, right? So half the time I just run without the radio plugged in. Just like, I don't need to listen to you guys on the two-way today.
Yeah. That's sounds like you need a whole other battery sitting in the cab for yourself. Go buy like an optimal.
That Starlink draws a lot of power.
Yeah.
A lot of power. Like I got a 400 watt inverter plugged in there, and like I can plug other things into it. The only limitation I really have is the 12 volt. That's the limitation because it's got two of them, right? And I'm not plugging anything into that 24 volt and just fry it.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No.
How big is your cab? Like standard?
I mean, it's pretty small in this one, so it'd be kind of like your standard like 200 series Hitachi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a 210 Hitachi, but like with the Foresters, they had one version that had a really good size cab, but I don't have it. It's
Is that what that machine is? It's Hitachi?
Yeah, the one I'm running. Yeah,
You like
and
Hitachi?
we had a few John Deeres and a Komatsu on site too. As far as processors goes, for what I'm doing, like roadside, that Hitachi with that little 4-cylinder Isuzu, it just sips fuel and it still cuts just as good as the John Deere's. So
I ran a Hitachi now and then. It was an Hitachi 1100. It was a big Traco.
Yeah.
Big piece of shit.
Oh?
That thing was a fucking dog. It was a dog. I mean, for as big as a Traco was, I mean, it was a huge Traco. If you guys start doing anything to take a scoop, you'd have to take a scoop all the way up, curl in, and then start to move.
Oh,
if you tried to scoop and try to start moving, it would just be, oh. And you're like, oh, this thing fucking sucks. So then you're cutting your time down. Come on. Yeah, I hated that thing. And there was no AC. So it was scalding hot from the motor and the 100 degrees outside. Yeah, that was not my machine I liked.
You got to be able to multifunction with these machines. You can't just do function. That's a production killer. Like we have one right now that needs injectors, and it's like that. You can only do one thing at a time. You can't boom up and stick in at the same time. You have to do boom up, then stick in, and then move, and then cut. It's just doesn't work.
You look real green.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh, he's learning how to run the Traco. You're like, no, I know how to. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can do it all one motion. No, you can't. Not with this one.
Nope, you got to pick. Or you're going super slow, or you're stalling.
Why aren't you going fast enough? Your machine.
Limitation of the iron.
Exactly. So, before we wrap this up, because I forgot to do this last time, we have a blue collar apparel company.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Arcing Ahead Apparel. Arcing Ahead, pun is intended. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
But for loggers, we do have apparel for loggers. Here is a tumbler.
Ooh. That's one of the old trucks.
Yeah. Here's the shirt.
I think you sent me that link. I looked at that. That's really nice.
Pretty dope, right? Yeah, we're trying to hit. Right now, we have up to 100 trades on our apparel.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, if oil rig. Oh, we have lineman, electrician. I see drag line. railroad, drilling and blasting, arborist, tower climber. We have a lot. A lot. But yeah, we have a log truck too.
Nice.
But you have any advice for any of the younger generation or anybody looking to get into the logging industry?
Well, there's a couple things I could say about that. Really, the first one is you're gonna find all these guys promising you the world with these courses that they're giving out these days with the heavy equipment operator courses and all that. You can take that course as much as you want, and the employers aren't really going to give you a preference over someone that they'd have to train themselves. They'd actually probably give preference over to the people that they have to train themselves, because they can teach them how they want to run the equipment, not a cookie cutter operator coming from their course. You don't get no seat time with it. So that's the number one thing people look for, right? Like with that heavy equipment operator course, you get maybe like 250 hours in the seat of one of those things, and you pay out like 25 grand. Like, why?
That's absurd.
It is. You pay 25 grand, whereas you can go, and if you're getting trained on to run a piece of equipment, I mean, the wage is going to vary. You might get minimum wage. You might get.
But you're getting paid to learn.
Exactly.
Why pay $25,000? Exactly. Yeah. Why do that? That's common sense to me. I mean, if you were like, all right, you want to pay $25,000 for a certificate saying you know how to run this, but you really don't because you haven't had enough seat time, or you can start here green, not knowing anything. We'll teach you the way we want you to work, and you'll get paid doing it.
Exactly. And the main thing that drives people to go to these courses is because not a lot of people want to train, right? Like in forestry, especially, because it's a pretty big cost burden for an employer to take on. By the time you factor in all the stuff, you're going to break shit. It's just the nature of the beast. You can try as much as you want to be gentle and soft. You're going to break shit. You're going to lose. The machine's not going to be profitable production for at least a month. So you got to factor all that in. It's going to cost the employer probably 20, 30 grand at the minimum, depending on which piece of iron you hop onto. So, I mean, it's a big ask to get someone to train you, but if you can go in and show them that you are taking the initiative to go in there and show them that you're willing to do what it takes to get this job and to actually put an honest effort in to learn this piece of equipment, it goes a long way with employers. Like, the best advice I got was pull a lot of coattails and keep pulling. Don't let go of them. Like, if you get a guy and you're talking to him and he says not right now, well, pull his coattail in a couple months. Like, just keep asking. And the winter time's not the time to ask. That's like our go time. Like, you want to start as soon as spring breakup comes. Like, when it's muddy and you don't see any log trucks on the road, that's the time you go and look at the logging companies and say, hey, are you willing to train someone? I'm willing to do whatever it takes, right? And, that's how I got onto it. I got lucky because if you're getting into logging, and you're going to go to a logging camp, that's going to be your best bet to get in, is to go out of town. It sucks to leave and go out of town all the time, but that's how you're going to get the easier in. If you're going to wait for someone local that you can be home every night, well, they probably got guys that have been in the industry for 10, 15 years, right? So
that's what I was going to say, is that you can't be too demanding.
No.
If you're just trying to get into these industries. That's with any trade. You can't walk in there and be like, all right, I'm green. And for anybody who doesn't know what green means, that means you're new. Just going to put that there. But you go in, you're like, oh, I'm green, but you know what? I want to work locally. I want to do this. They're going to be like, okay, well, we'll give you a call. You ain't never going to get a call. They're looking for somebody that goes in there and be like, what do you need done?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
I need you to come here for 2 months and work away from home. Do it, because once you get your foot in the door, you start showing that you'll do anything.
Yep.
Later on down the road, you'll get all those. You want to work from local, you want to do that, you'll get all that.
Yep.
You got to show your worth, though. That's the thing.
What the effort you put in is the effort you'll get back in the long run. Like,
yes.
I spent when I full time come out here. I spent a good 6 years just keeping busy, going from camp to camp, living in camp. Even on my days off, everyone else would go home to their family. I didn't have a family at the time, so I went to work. And there was a stint I did 4.5 months straight without a day off, and 12-hour days. But camp was close, so it wasn't too bad. I could still go work my 12 hours. There's about 20 minutes of driving. I'm back at camp. I do my laundry. I have my meal. I have a good night's sleep, and I'm back at her again tomorrow. Because the mentality I had when I first come out here, and still kind of do, with the exception of I want to be home every night. But when I first come out here, is like I'm out here to work. If there is no work, I'll go to the next company and I'll find work. And that's how I did it. And I didn't jump around just for $1 an hour raise here or there. I mean, it would take a considerable, improvement in my work conditions in order to get me to move. And, employers in my industry, there's not really hard feelings on it. It's like, well, hey, here's what so-and-so, as long as you go up to them and say like, hey, well, I'm going to be leaving. Here's what I'm getting. If you want to match it, I'll stay. If not, well, I have to go because I can't really pass this up.
Yeah.
And typically everyone takes it pretty well. There's only, from my memory, one company that took it really hard. They're like, no one can afford to pay that. You're bullshit and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, I'll see you later then. But
I think that's super cool that you can do that. That's, it's not heard of a majority of companies, especially in different all these trades. If you have different mines, and I left one mine, went to another mine, I was like, all right, well, you're slowing down here. I'm gonna jump back to that mine. They'd be like, fucking kick rocks, you left.
Yeah.
Like, no. That's really awesome that these companies kind of work together.
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, they really are, because you're using all the same employees together.
Pretty much. Like even the company, I switched jobs here in December to go back to processing, and since I've started back to that, we've had 2 other people come and go. Like I said, it's a very transient kind of style industry. Like most of our guys that get hired out here, like me from back east, but I ended up moving out here. But there's a lot of guys that just come out here for 10 months and then they take their 2 months off and go back home for 2 months. And there's been guys doing that for 30 years now. And you mentioned the oil patch. The oil patch is kind of the similar way, where it's a little bit different in the oil patch because it's big companies, and you get your in-company politics kind of thing, and you move to a different site and it's different here and they hate each other kind of thing. It's kind of similar in the oil field up here, but not in forestry, because everyone just comes and goes. If you're a hard worker, people respect you, and if you're kind of a fuck up, well, your name gets out there for the wrong reasons. It's a very small community.
Yeah, which you don't want to be that fuck up, because in that small community, it's over, it's done. You get blackballed from everybody.
Yeah, and if you get in that situation, you pretty much got to build your name back up from scratch, as if you're even a little bit worse. Like the new guy probably has a little bit more pull than you do at that point. If you really are a fuck up, like you really gotta give her.
Yeah, don't fuck up.
Yeah.
Jarrod, it has been a great time talking with you on here, man. I definitely appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely going to keep in touch. It was awesome having you once again.
For sure.
For everybody watching, stay tuned for the next episode. And so we'll see you then.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Bye.
Bye.